I am Dr. N.K. Venkataramana, Founder Chairman and Chief Neurosurgeon of Brains Super Speciality Hospital. We have been discussing about the road safety and how one should take care of themselves while driving for many years, nearly more than 2 decades now. I am extremely happy that government has made wearing a seat belt compulsory in the country and more so in the government of Karnataka. It is very important, and I wanted to explain how important it is, and I don't want anyone to feel that government is imposing or restricting your freedom sitting in the car. Seat belt is a game changer. It's such a simple device but a beautiful device to prevent complete spinal cord injury. When a vehicle is moving at a very high speed, suddenly something comes, there is a sudden brake. What happens? The high speed vehicle comes to a sudden halt. The person who is sitting inside goes all the way forward and comes back. So, in that high movement, many things happen. Number one, the brain inside moves forward and comes back inside the skull, and that movement itself can rub the brain and with the skull bone, which is very rough bone, and cause damage. And the person who is sitting without a seat belt can fly off and go and hit the steering and get a chest injury, or hit the windshield and get a serious injury. And if it is very severe and sudden brake, person might get thrown off also. That's number one. Number two is that the second highest movement that happens is at the cervical spine. We have a severe jolt coming forward and coming backward. That quick movement in a flash of a second can hit the spinal cord very badly. We call it as a whiplash injury. Instantly the person can get paralyzed. There may not be any injury to the spine, but he can get paralyzed. Now, people who have little bit of abnormality in the spine, a weak disc or a weak joint can get dislocated completely. Spinal cord can come forward and go back. In the bargain, there can be severe injury or sometimes complete cut off of the spinal cord, causing lifetime paralysis, right? The third thing, the next important area that moves is the low back spine, lumbar spine, what we call, and both the neck as well as the lumbar spine has, between the two bones there is something called as a washer. We call it as a disc. The disc is a soft material that makes the spine mobile. In that there is a ring and there is a jelly, and the jelly is the one which can crack and come out, and when it comes there is an acute disc prolapse. It's like any kind of injury, if a jumping or a fall, similar thing can happen when there is a sudden break. All these movements can be regulated, controlled and restrained by simply wearing the seat belt, and you can protect yourself from a severe spine injury, neck injury, lumbar spine injury, disc prolapse, and to some extent brain shaking. Last but not the least, if there is a severe accident, if you are not wearing seat belt, they are the people who get thrown out and unnecessarily get killed. If a person is wearing seat belt, many of the times people have saved their lives, saved their spines. By then, the airbags will come. Even sometimes, even the situations where we have seen the vehicles have rolled down, a person who are wearing seat belt tightly with good cars and they remain as it is intact, they get away with some minor injuries. But if the seat belt is not there, we don't know how many times where all he will be rolled and what all the parts will get damaged and completely ruptured, including liver, spleen, some things can get damaged inside. All these injuries can be prevented. So, please remember, by simply wearing a seat belt, it is very important that you will save so much of damage to yourself in an emergency situation. And the very important thing is not only the driver, the person who is sitting in the front, the people sitting behind must wear seat belt. That is the reason the current European guidelines or the standards says that even rear seats should have belts and they must wear seat belt. And not the least, if you are having a child, make sure there is a child seat belt. Don't let them sit in your laps, don't make them sit in your lap and drive. It all looks very fun, but there is a situation comes and child will be thrown out and the situation will be very pathetic for the rest of the life.